All right, all right, all right. Just kick back and enjoy the chilly looking scene while we're waiting to see if anybody wants to come in before I start talking about some storm information. Just an update. Yes, I know you can go and get your own storm information, but it's so much funner when you share with friends. And right off the bat, that picture I posted for the thumbnail is an older one from earlier today. So things have changed. And I have some updates to report. In case you're wondering, yes, I'm freezing. I spent most of my day running around, taking care of a few little things here and there, checking in on friends, both in the neighborhood and around my neighborhood. Uh, went to well, not to make sure, but went and filled up my gas tank. And I refused to buy gas in my town when I could drive 10 miles down the road, 100 yards over the county line. And hey, Brooke, I could drive 100 yards over the county line and pay 25 cents less a gallon. So I usually save my fill ups for when I'm doing an errand or a chore up in that direction, or when I let my tank get down to just a little under half. And I very rarely go below a half a tank of gas. And yeah, one of those hidden pleasures of having a luxury vehicle is you have to use premium gas. So quarters add up. Yeah, I said in the beginning, just some of the idle chit chat, that that map was put up on Fox News, Fox Weather earlier today. So there has been some shifting since then. I just used a blanket image, but figure wait and see if a couple more people want to pop in. So yeah, okay, everybody can go and get their own storm information, but it's always funner to share this horrible information with friends, right? Yeah, I have a Tahoe high country. And yeah, when you get it, some of those hidden expenses you don't think about because I had an Equinox that I hated, but I needed to get something. And before that, my Chevy Trailblazer uh, was what was it, 2011. So that was the last model they still put on truck frame, and it was fine with regular gas. And Equinox regular gas, regular unleaded. And then I finally get the Tahoe that I've been wanting forever. And yeah, some of those expenses I didn't think about, but no regrets. No regrets. It's not like I spend all my time driving. So for the comfort I get in it, oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. See, I loved my Trailblazer. And the only reason um, I had to move out of that is the body was in fantastic condition. It was completely tricked out on the inside. But there was a section of the undercarriage, the frame on the undercarriage that was rusting out. And they told me that if I got hit in an accident, the vehicle would crumple. And yeah, considering I have grandbabies that are in my vehicles on occasion, that just was not acceptable. And this was during COVID, and I was in a PTSD break at the time and wasn't willing to go far, so I just went to the dealer that was closest to my house and left with an Equinox. You know, my criteria was, and I hadn't had a car payment in forever. And in between the last car payment and this, uh, I went housebound and wasn't working. So I honestly didn't even know if I'd be able to get a car loan, so, I didn't think I was in a position to be too picky. So they had a decent little Equinox there. It would be big enough to fit a crate in if I had to ship any birds or anything, and or take anything to the vet or whatever. And that was my criteria, and I hated it. I had it a week and it got stuck in my driveway with snow, and it was only a couple inches of snow too, but it got stuck in my driveway, and it was destined to go to hell from then on. And then I just bode my time until the stars aligned. And then this past April, right before the tariffs kicked in, a couple days before my birthday, I got up in the morning and decided today's the day, and went out and got it. So, went to 3 different dealerships, because the first two, because I had, obviously I had been checking them out online, see who had what, and got to the first 2 dealerships, and problems finding the vehicle, or, oh, it's back getting maintenance right now, we won't have it available till Monday. And I was like, oh, to hell with that, I'm getting a vehicle today. Monday's not a negotiable factor. And on the way home, I came by the dealership where I had actually gotten my Trailblazer, and walked in, and I'm like, do you have any Tahoes? And they pulled it up for me, took it for a test drive, and then signed away my firstborn. So, to be fair, the Equinox is not a bad vehicle. I just like the comfort in a larger vehicle, and I still had a hard on over over losing my Trailblazer because of the rust on the frame. And within the first week, getting stuck in my driveway because of a couple inches of snow, that kind of just cemented it. And having PTSD, and the stubbornness that creates sometimes, stubbornness set in your ways, and things for me are about comfort. And I didn't have it when I was out in that vehicle, because I smelled like it. I felt like I was, just caged in and too tight. And I wasn't. I mean, if you've seen an Equinox, it's not small. It's not big, but it's not small. But it had too many piss me off features about it. So in my Tahoe, I absolutely love it. I'm still trying to figure out what some of those damn buttons do, though. So, oh yeah, they're not cheap, and I wasn't buying. Actually, you know what? I probably should have got brand new, but I got a 23, low mileage 23. Still has all kinds of warranties on it, and yeah, I've been thrilled with it. I can't think of one thing about it that I have not enjoyed, or have been dissatisfied with. I can't think of one thing. Well, okay, there is one thing. It's white. And the Equinox was white. You know, white's not a favorite color of mine for a vehicle, but you know, that's a cosmetic thing. You know, that's not a functional anything, so I can ignore that. Yeah, my Trailblazer, when I bought that, it was already a couple years old. The Equinox was like 2 years old, and you know the Trailblazer or the Tahoe, you know, is a 23, and I got it in April of 25. So, but for what I paid, and I was very happy with the price, and I had done, you know, all kinds of pricing on it. I mean, it wasn't exact. The morning I got up and decided I'm going out and today's the day, it wasn't exactly rash because I had been contemplating it and scoping them out, you know, to different dealerships in the area for quite a while. So, I mean, it wasn't completely rash, but going out that morning within an hour of waking up, you could say that was rash, but not the idea, not the intent that I was getting one. You know, what kind of prompted it at that moment was knowing that tariffs and everything were going to kick in. And as soon as they did, you know, you saw how prices jacked up. Yes, I have third row seating. And there's buttons in the front and buttons in the back that will put those seats down and flip them up and you know, put them so they're flat. My second row, it's the split row seat. What's that called? Captain's chairs? I don't know. It's a split bench in the back. So you know you have to it only seats two in the second row because you have to be able to walk through them to get to the third row. But yeah, the third row, I that's also split, so I could put down one side or both sides. The second row, one side or both sides. Um, yeah, it does all kinds of stuff. I like how it, you know, flashes things on my windshield, you know, my speed directions. If I have my GPS on, it'll put the directions right there in a nice little box. That took getting some used to though. Um, you know, it has a big screen in there in the center console, a big screen for the GPS, and my audiobook shows up on there. So, you know, I don't sit there and there's no putzing with the phone. Um, It's got the ever important phone charger in there. I literally just have to set the phone down in the center console. That's, you know, that's right under the front dash. I just have to set my phone in there and it charges. There's no cords, no cables or anything. So that was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that was I had never seen that before. You know, that was not a deal breaker. That feature was not a deal breaker. After I had signed all the paperwork and I was transferring everything from, you know, the couple of little things that were still in my vehicle because I had cleared mine out before I left the house. But there are still a couple things in there. But when I was transferring stuff from my vehicle over to this, one of the guys hopped in and he says, "Okay, let me get you started on these buttons." You know, and that's when he you know, told me about that. And he's like, "Yeah, don't put your keys in there." So I can't put my keys in the center console um, because it can short out that the battery charger thing, is what he said. And I'm not going to test out the theory. Um, the armrest, the center console, you know, between the two front seats, that has a hidden compartment underneath. I'm not like I'm worried about you coming to find out, but that whole console, I press an overhead button and that whole console will slide back. And that makes that whole the whole back of the console with the cup holders more easily accessible to you know, who's sitting in the second row, which is kind of cool. Um, Not that that's a normal thing for me though, but once you open that up, it has a drawer underneath. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool because if you didn't know what it was, you know, or know that they have that, you know, I have never ever seen that before. So that was really cool. And when the guy was going over the buttons, you know, and he thought that he thought that button was going to open my I got the big panoramic window on top too. But he thought it was going to open the window, and he presses it, and boom, the center console goes sliding back. So that was cool. And yeah, all kinds of different buttons in there. There's electrical outlets, and there's USB outlets, accessible to all 3 rows and in the back. I think there's a electrical outlet in the back too. Obviously, I haven't had to use it, or I'd know for definite, but I'm pretty sure I did see one back there. I'm pretty sure the second row has the ability to plug in their headphones and change the radio station for the back row. I know my Trailblazer had that, and I'm pretty sure this has it. See, I don't sit in the second row, so I might be misremembering that. I'm pretty sure it does, though. Oh yeah, gotta have a secret compartment everywhere. So at least there I could throw my money clip in, and unless the car is actually running, you can't open that. And it's stable. It's as stable as any other center console, and the center on the top is pretty deep, so you wouldn't think that there was a tray underneath there. That tray is only about 2 inches deep, so I mean it's not incredibly deep, but it's deep enough to hold a money clip or a normal wallet, some little stuff like that. And that's great. I just keep a money clip in there with extra cash. You never know when you might need some cash on hand for something. And if I keep the cash in my pocket, I spend it quicker. So I just keep some cash under there, because again, you never know when you're just going to need cash. So, and there are some Amish shops around me that only use cash. Well, they use cash or checks. And I don't even have checks. So, cash is the only option. But yeah, it's the simple little things. The simple little things to amuse me. And I am positive. Don't quote me on this. Don't quote me on this, but I am positive that if I press buttons in there in a certain order, in a certain way, that in the wintertime it'll go out there and automatically plow. It'll turn into like a transformer and plow my driveway for me. I'm positive of it. So my bedroom furniture is Amish made. I bought that a while back, and paid out the ass for it, but it is a beautiful set. Beautiful set. Actually, I'd say it's the first really nice bedroom furniture I ever had. Everything before that was, box furniture. I mean, not bad, but, not really good furniture. It did the job. Not that anybody's grading the bedroom furniture, because Christ almighty, nobody looks at it. When I got my bedroom set, I also got a dining table. It's the I forget what the tables are called that are the taller tables. You have the taller table with the taller chairs. So I got that at the same time I got the furniture. I did a bundle deal there. So, and the table, it's usually a rectangle, but I can open it up, and the centerpiece is hidden underneath, and it just rotates up and slides into place, and then it's a big square, and it'll seat 8. So, no, the old set I had in my bedroom actually belonged to my grandmother, and it was like Value City quality furniture. So I'd moved that into the spare room, and then when my son moved back in the house, I was at a work conference, and I come back, and he'd put it out on the curb. I could have killed them. It wasn't that bad. It was perfect for a spare room. And he's like, "Well, I didn't need it in there." Like, there was a little bit of sentimental value to that because it was my grandmother's, and she's no longer here. But anywho, I guess it's just going to be you and me again. Not a problem with that. I figure I'm going to be up and down most of the night. The snow has not really started for me yet. But once it does, it's supposed to be heavy. And I want to get out there as frequently as I need to and use my leaf blower to blow the snow off. Because since it's so cold, it's going to be a powdery snow. So I'll be able to blow most of the snow off of my wheelchair ramp and off my vehicle and away from the vehicle. Because once you get to a certain age, you have a heart attack when you have to shovel too much snow. So I'm trying to prevent that. But I only gave like 20-minute notice because I didn't think I was going to go live at all. But since the snow hasn't really gotten heavy yet, I'm like, well, we can go live a little bit and talk about it. But I will say they have upped the totals, so I'm expecting over a foot of snow between now and tomorrow. So now and tomorrow night. So that's over a foot of snow. And if I have to go out and do that all at one time, that'll kill me. My back couldn't handle it, for one thing. But so what's going on in Minnesota? Let's see. Minnesota's all gray. But let me see and look at the maps I have here and see if there's anything else. Minnesota's just fucking cold. How's that? Yeah, you guys on the map here, the maps that I have up on Fox, you guys were in the gray for, you guys are getting snow. You're used to it. Nothing extravagant. And I don't have temperature maps up because we all know it's cold. So I only pulled up some information on the side here for the snow and ice. But let me they did just report about 30 minutes ago there's more than 160,000 power outages already between Texas and Louisiana. So that's not good. There's also some in Mississippi, New Mexico, and Arkansas. Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's what you meant in Minnesota. I see. I was on the weather track. Yeah, I was watching some of that today. Sorry, I was completely on a different frame set when you asked about that. And yeah, it should have clicked right away because I know you're in Michigan. But the upper UP, right? Well, you saw there was another shooting, another ICE involved shooting today. Dare I say, it involved an unaliving. They just need to get these people off the streets, get them back into their homes. I don't know if that's going to be, invoking the Insurrection Act, which I really hate to see because this is bad. This is bad. This is moving towards totalitarian state, and it's behaviors like this. Okay, I get it. They don't like, excuse me, they don't like what ICE is doing, but ICE is doing their job. You know, just like a lot of other people that don't like their job, they are doing their job. You know, right now it's not even a matter of trying to see what got us to that point, because that's not going to help with the right now, the right here and right now. But the governor and the mayor up there, I think they're causing more problems than they're helping resolve. Oh, Lower Peninsula. I'm sorry. That was Teresa, I think, that's in the Upper Peninsula. One of the other ladies is in the Upper Peninsula. But I'm sorry, I can't keep everything straight. But yeah, the last I was listening to anything on that was maybe about 75 minutes ago. And it was dark, obviously, and huge gathering, all huddled up in one area. But shortly before that, when it was still daylight, they had 4 different areas completely blocked off, the streets completely blocked off, with a lot of the feds in between them, and that's when all the flashbangs and the tear gas and stuff started going off. I mean, it was, well, I'm sure you've watched some of it. Yeah, I saw that on another post, on a post that Shannon's in that area. But yeah, yeah, what's going on up there is absolutely crazy. Just get those people in their houses. And I think I think it was the governor who said calling in the National Guard now. I mean, even the governor's conceding to calling in the National Guard. What's he think they're going to do? Back him up? You know, he is just making things worse. And this is a man who isn't that's the one who ran with Kamala, right? Or Kamala, or however you say her name. That's who ran with her, right? What he got a hard on with everybody because he didn't get picked? You know, I mean, this. I mean, you have all this going on, and all of that. Did you see all of that fraud they uncovered going on up there with the daycares and the home health care and everything? I mean, that was what, billions of dollars? There is no way you could have that much going on in your state and not know about it unless you are a complete fucking moron. So I mean, he's looking bad. Is what, is he trying to make himself look good to his people by acting tough? Well, he's going to get people killed. He's going to get more people killed with the way he's behaving right now. It's ridiculous. This is absolutely insane. But yeah, I was watching that, and then I'm like, I just got to step away for a little bit, and I turned off that news and put on 1,000 Pound Sisters. Yes, okay, that's one reality show. I do enjoy watching them when they're succeeding and not being idiots. But I put that on. It was still previewing the weather reports, and I saw a couple comments there from Terry and Shelly commented, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? I'll go ahead and go live for a little bit, and just do some storm talk and shoot the shit a little bit. So yeah, I knew they were the new season started this month. I wasn't paying attention to it to when, and I saw a blip somewhere, and I'm like, oh, I bet the new season started, and I go and check, and oh yeah, it's already on the third episode. So I have a little catching up to do. So, but yeah, I enjoy watching them when they're being successful. I can't stand watching them when they're being stupid. No, I do not watch Sister Wives. When I was in Coley's chat, um, were you ever in Coley's chat? Vanessa and Artist Way. We used to chit chat afterwards. You know, we'd go into a private chat and just sit there and shoot the shit into the wee hours. Um, she tried to get me into Sister Wives, told me what seasons to watch that would get me all caught up quicker instead of watching all of them. And I tried to watch some of it. I gave it a try. I gave it an honest try, and I just couldn't stomach the idiot Cody. Oh God, yeah. Well, you know I'm blocked. But yeah, I just couldn't stand Cody and how he acted. And but I did try. You know, I put it on, and then I'm like, okay, I've got to do something else while this is on. And I tried multitasking while it was on, and it was real easy just to completely tune it on. And I'm like, okay, it's not going to work. It's just not catching me. Oh, okay, the thumb of Michigan. Okay, I terminology, but I had Michigan right at least. Hi, Teresa. Welcome, 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 welcome. So, but yeah, I'm still trying to work off the calories I gained just from looking at your bread, by the way. Just thought I'd let you know that. Um, yeah, but that's good. I need them for all the cold I'm going to be out in. Oh, you know what? I should probably send out a yo because apparently somebody doesn't get notifications. So let me see if I can do this. Let me see if this will work. Okay. Hopefully that's a notification that goes out. Oh, don't you hate when that happens? She posted a photo on my community tab. I didn't even realize I had a community tab until you told me to go look. So thank you for that. I learned something new about my page here. Meant to tell you that. When I would make London broils, have you ever had a London broil cut of beef? It's a good cut if you make it right. It sucks if you cook it wrong. But I used to get them custom cut, good 2 inches, and then grill them. And when I had both boys living at home, it was like I'd throw meat on the grill and the radar would go off, and all of their friends in a 5-mile radius would show up at the house. and I would literally have to stand there and guard my food and go and when I was cutting it, guard it like I was in prison guarding my tray. So to make sure that I would get some because the minute I turned my back, it was gone. They did the same thing with my pumpkin pies. Yeah, it was brutal. So, but yeah, I had to guard the food, guard the food when I cut it, just so I can get some of it. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, when I was coming back from the driving out of the county to get gas today, on the way back, I stopped at a butcher shop. I've seen the signs for it, but never stopped before. And decided I'm going to go check it out because, I'm like, I'm out. I'm going to be out for a little while. And stopped in, and apparently it's run by two old guys, says the old lady here. And well, it also means they're teenage boys and they eat everything. But two old guys, we're talking old, the old hunched over old guys, old school butchers. Um, all the meat they had marked down 10%. Whoop-de-doo when you consider the prices. But they had some beautiful roasts and some other cuts in there in their cooler, and they had some sausage. The whole place smelled like smoke. So they had their smoker going. I don't think it was going when I was there, but it had recently been turned off, and they had just taken out some smoked garlic sausage, and so I got some of that. And what else did they have? They had a garlic trail bologna. I love garlic, and they had a garlic trail bologna, and had some of that cut up, and I could taste it before it even hit my mouth. That's how spiced up it was, and oh, that was good. And a couple cheeses that apparently won at the county fair, or the state fair, I should say, not the county fair, that won at the state fair. And I'm looking forward to chopping those up and trying them. And what else did I get? I got something else. I know I did. But yeah, I walked out of there, like $100 lighter. Ran to a Myers because I needed some cabbage to make a chipotle burrito bowl using sweet potatoes as my protein. But now I have all this beef, so I might actually use some of that for a part of the burrito bowl. Um, oh, and they had horseradish root. They had a root in there that was the size of my arm from my elbow down to my fist. I have never seen a horseradish root that big. And it was like 2 pounds. I've never ever, oh, I'm 58. So not 50, I'm 58. But I had never seen a horseradish root that big before. So I had to get that. Um, yeah, I was getting some funny looks by some people when I'm sitting there just staring at them like, holy shit, as I'm staring at it and turning it around in my hand. I'm like, you'd have thought I was sitting there, evaluating cock and balls or something, the way I was getting looked at. And I wasn't. Um, and where did I go next? Then I went to a local dairy and picked up some of their vanilla milk, which is delicious. It's great for sipping. I don't like really a lot of really sweet stuff, but that vanilla milk is better than vanilla creamer, the French vanilla creamer, and it's like $2.99 for a 8-ounce bottle, but it comes in the cutest little uh, solid glass milk jugs. They're the little mini milk jugs. So I'm paying more for the milk jug, than I am the actual milk. But They do a couple other flavored milks that I'll get when I know the kids are going to be here. But for me, since I was out and they weren't too far away, like, yeah, I'll just get some of the vanilla for coffee. I'm in Costa, Montana, but you are right. I'm in Costa, Montana. It's the unknown state of Costa, Montana. It's the 55th state. Because I'm sure some other people out there have made up state names too. But eventually I'm going to slip. And it's only a state. The only reason I don't disclose it now is it's become a joke. This many years later, after that docs, at this point it's just a joke. But I'll keep running with it until I do make an official big slip up. B actually caught me on that because I had mentioned the store name once before too, and mentioned that to me. So, but yeah, I figure out even when it's figured out, as long as I don't give out my GPS coordinates, I'll be fine. Everything's changed up. Different emails, different names. When I got doxxed before, my account was based off my main email, and that's how they had tracked me down. Yeah, that was bad, but that's in the past now. But anywho, but yeah, let me see. Let me go over here because somebody's bound to hop in and say, "Well, what the hell, bitch? You're just talking. You were supposed to give some storm updates." Okay. Okay, 17 minutes ago, they put up a commercial vehicle ban on limited access highways in Connecticut. I didn't think Connecticut was getting hit yet. Soldiers assist stranded drivers in Oklahoma. Washington, D.C. is getting snow now. They are over, they're still saying just more than 160,000 power outages. The majority of that, Louisiana and Texas look pretty close on their numbers for how much, but also Mississippi, New Mexico, and Arkansas. And freezing rain is going on over about a 1,400-mile swath from Texas to North Carolina. I did on my original YouTube account. Yeah, I had my first name up there. Not that the name itself is a big deal. The name itself is not a big deal, but I had the account for a million years and never really got into, like the communities or stuff. And then I got in that one and pissed somebody off and boom. And well, we know how that goes. Oh, yes, they do. Oh, yes, they do. Well, you know what? I I didn't expect what happened to happen. And if they didn't catch you by name, the the ones that are determined to dox, they're going to find out. They're going to find some way or another. They're going to figure it out because they will track you down and find another place that you posted, and they'll start correlating. That's why I don't do any of those. I'm very limited on would you rather's, and I'm real careful on on sites that ask questions. And I never all those pages that put down what time it is and where you're posting. Oh yeah, like hell I'm going to put that information down. And well, you know what, I know better. I've had so much training, being a fed. We have to do all this training all the time on social engineering, and I know better, but I did not think that I I just thought that you form friendships, or you think you form friendships, and bada bing bada bam. And I had sent one email. It was one email that they were able to use to track me. One time they got my main email address and was able to find out by reverse searching and everything, and they found it somewhere else through Google, and yeah, that's all she wrote. So when I and I'm doing the air quotes, when I rebranded, yep, new email, new everything, and you know just leave it like that. So eventually, the internet might be huge and worldwide, but I've also learned that the world's a pretty small place. And eventually somebody from back in that day and age is going to come across, and they might recognize me, they might recognize my voice, you know they might recognize something, and I just hope that the past can stay in the past and people are smarter, because you get in more trouble now than you did even a few years ago. So, hopefully I didn't do anything that was, worthy of that. So, worthy of the level of docs. And they weren't even that big of a deal. It was just being assholes and being fueled on by the gang mentality of the community, and yeah, so over said and done with. My email was not my name. My excuse me, my email was not my name. Nowhere near my name. But when you've had an email for, you know, a million years, it's out there. So yeah. My feet are freezing. And I got socks on too. I got socks on. I'm under my heated blanket. I got a hot water bottle on my lap today. That's how cold I am. But again, I'm running in and out. Yeah, you got to see this. I even have my hat on today. Look at this. I'm freezing. I am bundled up, because once you get that chill in you, whew, once you get that chill, it takes forever to go away. And I don't want to go and take a shower or bath to help break the chill, because I'm going to be going out in it again. And it's only what, 8 degrees right now. So yeah, so the last thing I want to do is, shower and everything, because it'll be even worse when I go outside to warm up that much. So I'll just sit here and freeze. Oh, let's see. Oh, my water heater went out today. I usually only have a problem with it in the spring and the fall with the big pressure changes with the season. But this storm, I guess, enough of a pressure change that knocked my water heater on. It's gas, and that took a while to get it going. Yeah, it's pisses me off. I've had a problem with it since I had it put in, and it's like, well, it happens every spring and fall, and today was just a more of an issue getting it started. And of course, when do you realize your hot water heater goes out? Oh no, I got it started back up. No, I got it started back up. It took a while. But when do you realize that your hot water heater went off? When you go to use hot water and you don't have any. So no, there should be hot water by now. Well, it's not super super hot, but it's hot. But yeah, so even earlier, if I wanted to, I couldn't have taken a hot shower. So um, I don't think it's a ream, and I'm not going to go down and look right now. But I had it put in when I put the new furnace in wow, 15 years ago. So it's 15 years old. Oh, mine doesn't beep. And I would think that the oh, I can't think of what it's called, but it's the igniter. I would think that the igniter is bad. And I'm like, oh, I could change that. I did that on my old water heater. But this one, a newer one, 2011, but it's got the internal igniter, and then it has an electronic ignition on it, but everything's enclosed. So it's not as simple as just changing out the igniter on it. So, I just get used to it's like, okay, spring and fall, I've got to, before I go to take a shower, double check to make sure I got hot water, because I know that that's the time that it usually happens, or really big storms moving in. So, but other than when it does that on occasion, it still works good. I mean, it heats the water good, so no reason to rush to put a new one in. So I know I went online looking. That's how I know about the doohickey being on the inside, but that was quite some time ago that I had looked it up, so I don't remember all the specifics to it now. Like I said, I just resigned myself that I'm going to have to deal with this every so often. So yeah, I got other things I could waste my money on right now besides that. I could put a new PTAC unit in my office here so that it actually would be warmer in here. Yeah, you know what a PTAC unit is? Oh, lucky you. Okay, PTAC unit. It's like those wall heater air conditioners you see in hotels. That's what I have in my office here. Because this used to be, at one point in time, this was just a patio. And then somebody closed it in. And since it doesn't have heat vents coming in here, they put a PTAC unit in the wall. Yeah, see this wall right here behind me, that's the back side of the fireplace that's inside my house. But so this room has no heat vents in it. And my PTAC unit, I had that installed in 2011 too. I had the guy out here servicing it like a month ago, and the heater shot on it. And but the air conditioner works great. Yeah, I love brick walls too. But the air conditioning unit on it is solid. It works fantastic, but the heater sucks. And for the size, because I have 7 windows in here and the gabled roof, um, it takes a larger PTAC unit, the bigger motor in it or whatever it's called. So to put a new PTAC unit in here, just the unit alone is like $1,500. And that kind of got my shorts and my knickers in a twist, because half of the unit works, and it's only a couple months out of the year that I actually need it for the heat. So this is the stubborn side of me. So, well, as long as the air conditioning unit works on it really well for the summer months when I need it, because my when my lungs are acting up, and spring and fall you don't usually need anything, because fresh air coming through, and then it's only a couple months in the winter when it's really bad. And I have a radiator, but I have a nice heavy radiator here, and I have a smaller radiator under the desk here, that I barely use, the one under the desk. But yeah, I'm determined that as long as something on that unit is working well, I'm not putting money into buying another new one, because I'm stubborn that way. But I think it was Terry. I had said, yeah, I should see if I could get somebody to blow out the back wall of the chimney here, so I could have the fireplace and have the heat coming out both ways, so I could heat up in here too. Because yeah, that would be the less aggressive way to fix the issue of heating in this office, right? Of course. So, but yeah, blowing out half the chimney is always the better option than just fixing the damn PTAC unit, than replacing it. So I would think that would be easy and it would be pretty, but realistically, I don't know. I don't really know how good of an idea that would be. That could cause, the chimney wasn't built structurally to, have one of the walls knocked out. So it might have to have reinforcement on the sides that cannot be done because of the way the rest of the room is built. And you can't narrow this on the inside, because it's a double stacked chimney, because there's a fireplace on the lower level also. And that vents up through the chimney. And then the furnace downstairs, they have that, the furnace and the water heater, that also vents up through the chimney. So Terry must be coming. Coco's here, so Terry must be coming. Can you hear him? My hair's getting all knotty from laying on it than being tied back. Yeah, Terry's got to be showing up if he's just jumped up here. He seems to know when she's around. Oh yeah, it's long. And I cut off about a half a foot like a month or so ago. But hi baby. You gonna be the neck warmer? Neck massager? Huh? You the baby boy? You the baby boy? Yeah, you're a good kitty. Um he's purring. Um it's and usually my nails are really long too. I just haven't been taking care of them, so they're short. Um Strong hair and nails in the family, so yeah, genetics, all the women. So I used to have it well, not always, but I did let it get down to it was almost at my ankles. And I did a massive chop back in 2011 and kept it right about bra strap length. You know, when I did that, I did it up to my shoulders, and then let it go back, and I kept it at bra strap length for a couple years, and I've been letting it get long again. You know, I've had 2 episodes of uh, skin cancer so far, and figured genetically I'm predisposed to that too from both sides of my family. And I'm like, well, better start growing a hair again because I might need a wig eventually. So yeah, my other ponytail is like a yard long. It's upstairs. So let's see. I can't believe there hasn't been more updates on this. Long hair has its advantages just as much as it has disadvantages. When it's down, it gets stuck on doorknobs. Um, it's at the length where I got to make sure I pull it aside when I'm in the bathroom or it gets wet. Um, Knots can be a bitch. His name is Coco. He was a dump in my neighborhood and he showed up yowling. I heard him before I saw him when he showed up on my front porch. He came up on the porch because he saw Patches sitting up there, and he came up and just started hanging out. And my grandson was here at the same time and saw him, and we found out he was friendly, and uh, when I decided to name him Coco because why would I name a white cat Coco? Well, because when he first showed up, he had nuts. If you haven't figured out yet, I have a twisted sense of humor. Okay, there's 6 of you out. There's 6 of you out there. Come on in. It's just BS. We're supposed to be talking about the storm, but we're just shooting the shit. Yeah, but we just call him Coco. And he's an absolute love bug, in case you can't tell. He's a big boy. But now you're pushing my head forward. You're leaning the wrong way. Look at this. Oh, here comes Brulee. Are you jealous? Are you jealous? Hmm. These two do not like each other. They do not like each other at all. Hey, Chris. Uh-oh. You're dropping shits in the chat. What's wrong? This is already a some kind of shit day with the weather. But you're dropping shits already. Yep. Brulee, short for creme brulee. Oh, come on, you're pushing my head forward too much. Turn the other way. There, that's better. Oh, shooting the shit. Okay, gotcha. That's twice tonight. I miss things. Oh, this is only two. There's always at least four on me when I'm asleep. And they don't like bad people. Cats don't like bad people. What are you doing? Oh, yeah, you just look and realize who was on my lap, huh? Yeah, well, they're spoiled rotten. Hey, perhaps I'll do a live on how to make collars for them using cord. And I can't even think of what the cord's called right now. I hate when I lose my words. Hey, Betty, welcome. Now we're picking up. Now we're picking up. Oh, I got a cramp in my calf. Probably going from heat to cold, heat to cold. I didn't call you back up here. Really? Mm-hmm. Nope. Go sit on the chair. Go on the chair. No. No. Down. Down, 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 down. No. Don't you put your tail at me. Don't you twitch your tail at me. Give it 30 seconds. No. You did give a lot of material, Chris. But we're beyond that. So you can probably get it. Well, not probably. You can get a cheap set of crochet hooks off of Amazon for around $10. You'll get a complete set. I'll show you what a set would look like. I got a million sets around the house. Okay, that's half of the set, and then the rest of them. So a set's usually anywhere from 12 to 15 crochet hooks of different sizes. And yes, size matters. We're always under construction. So you're not special. We're always under construction. But yeah, you can get a they come in different colors. Yeah, if you like colors, or my other sets. You know, there's other sets for you know, if you're doing lace work, you got a lot smaller hooks. These metal hooks right here, these crochet hooks are probably 30 years old. You know, and you could get there's people that make silicone handles that you could put and you can still get metal hooks, but there's people that make silicone handles you could put your metal hooks into that make it a little bit easier to grip if you know, gripping's an issue or you have problems. That's right, Teresa. Um, if you know, if your wrists or your hands bother you, and holding a smaller hook or whatever, or the metal one bothers your hands or is difficult to hold, they sell a silicone sleeve. Um, they have a couple different sizes. Teresa, do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen those? Well, the silicone sleeve, um, it's one sleeve. So if you had, like, say, the metal ones, you'd push your metal one in, and then if you needed to switch out the size of the hook, it has a loop for pulling it out, for using, you know, you'd use the hook part of your hook to pull it out of the sleeve. So you only need the one sleeve. These ones, actually, I think these are two sets I combined because some of the smaller ones have different sizes. I have a couple like that. But I was doing some amigurumi, and the metal hook started. In fact, I think it was this one. Let me see, and I'll tell you in a second. Of course, it's not going to do it now. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, the you know, amigurumi, Chris, amigurumi is you're doing a lot of tight stitches, And you might have to struggle with your hook a little bit, sometimes getting it through. And with these nice, pretty, colorful ones, doing that, I noticed that the sleeve is starting to pull off. And I just pulled it down some as an example, and you can see the bottom part of it is off here. And that was annoying because I thought it was just like a freak incident because never had that problem before, but I don't usually do really tight stitching. And yeah, so that's a new thing I discovered. Now, these hooks right here are also I've had them for a long time too, so maybe I just started wearing them out. But yeah, I wasn't too happy when that happened. And that happened when I was working on this right here. And I'm not going to show you the rest of it because it's not done. But you can see it's got an eye. Oh, this is a hat that I made. Oh, when I stopped at Walmart today too, because what did I need at Walmart? What did I get at Walmart? I went there specifically for something. What was it? Oh, I wanted to get some Pico. Um, Walmart's Pico de Gallo that they make and mix up is it's actually pretty tasty. And I'm like, oh, maybe they have some marked down because they made too much and realized that the storm's coming in, they might not get rid of it all. So I was hoping they had some on markdown. But Walmart's Pico de Gallo is not bad. It's nice, thick, and chunky. And so I went there to pick that up, and it wasn't on markdown, but it's still pretty good. Not as good as homemade, but uh, I'm planning on making a few things, and I'll be doing a bunch of other chopping. And I'm like, I'll give myself a little bit of break with that. But I had on uh, my braided cow and matching hat. In my crochet vid I put up, you can see the picture of me with the braided cow and matching hat. And every time I wear that, I have so many people that stop me and ask me about it. Where I got the pattern and everything. And that cow, that's like 5 or 6 years old, I think, because that's pre-COVID. So yeah, that's like 5 or 6 years old. And people stop and running into all kinds of other hookers. Oh, I love homemade hummus. I just did a bunch of chickpeas the other day. But yeah, this hat, Teresa and Brooke, I keep forgetting if you crochet, so forgive me for not addressing you directly with crochet things. But do you recognize this stitch at all? Not the band. I have to do something on chickpeas. Okay, I didn't think so, but just in case I was forgetting, I didn't want you to think that I was ignoring you. Okay, this, there's the stitch. You can see it better. No, actually, this is not super cozy. It's not bad, but it's not super cozy. This is a 3D stitch. And I forget which language I watched this in. It wasn't English, but it was some European, probably Uzbekistan or something. But yeah, once you learn a couple stitches, you could watch just about anything. No, I was asking, do you recognize this stitch? Anyway, oh, there's the top of it. So the stitch looks different when it's closer together. Imagine that. Yeah, this is crochet. This is I was saying, Teresa, this is a 3D stitch. Okay? And it's reversible. Terry, I knew you were coming. Go ahead, Brooke. Tell Terry how we knew she was coming. Coco came in, jumped up, and was standing up here and yowling. And I'm like, oh, Terry must be on her way. And then he was up here for a little while until Brule came and spooked him off. So, and she just came over to say hi, Terry. Okay, now go. Terry doesn't like you. But yeah, as soon as he jumped up there, I was like, oh, Terry must be on her way. And that was only, a short while ago. You can rewind, you'll see it. It's there. I said it, sure did. But yeah, that I don't recall what the stitch is. It was in a different language. Um, this is another hat. This is like a 6, 7, 8 year old hat. I did a bunch of these. Everybody thought that was the coolest thing since toilet paper and sliced bread, being a reversible crochet hat. It's not incredibly warm because it's aerated. It's almost like a net, but it looks nice and it's warm, but it's not as warm as it would be if it was a solid stitch. Okay. You know what? It might be the weather because towers are going to go down, storms are affecting everything. Mhm. Mhm. But I don't have any yeah, they didn't update here, but let me go back to my other page. Last count was like 160,000 people without power, more than 160,000 power outages. Most of them in Louisiana, Texas not far behind, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Arkansas. So, oh yeah, and her -32 was in Celsius. Yeah, and that's in Celsius. So that's even colder to us Southerners. Cold makes everything worse. I'm expecting over a foot of snow, so yeah, I'm going to be out there every couple inches with the leaf blower, trying to use that to blow it off my wheelchair ramp and around my vehicle and off my vehicle, because that'll be way too much to shovel, and I can't take the snow blower up on the wheelchair ramp. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. I was talking about with the schools being off. I know with my grandson, with his schools, ever since COVID. See, I'm so used to doing this, I don't even notice it right away. Ever since COVID destroyed snow days for the kids, because if they have a weather day now, it's automatically go to the laptops, and we're doing school online today. So you know, at least in the Pittsburgh area, the kids don't get snow days like we used to when we were kids. I mean, hell, we used to love snow days. Love them snow days. But yep, COVID saved me. So because they when that hit, they took the VA took everything online. They put everything online, all of the therapy appointments, and they even issued us iPads, iPads with internet on it. But therapy went online, and I was begging for that before. And they're like, no, 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 you have to come up here, over an hour away. And when the mindset and with PTSD and everything like that, um, it was either say, fuck you, I'm not coming up there. So no, I'm from Pittsburgh. That's where my most of my that's where all my family is. I do not live in Pittsburgh anymore. But that's where all my family's from, and that's where I was born and raised. But uh so yeah, therapy went online, so I was able to start getting therapy for my PTSD. And then they started doing all of these programs and courses for PTSD, and I was able to get into that, and that helped. That really helped. So that was the how COVID was a benefit to me because of that. So I found a positive in COVID. I know that's really bad to say that, as bad as it was, but I did find a positive in COVID, and that was with the VA going online for just about everything. And if it wasn't for that, I'd probably still be in my house, not not getting out, and getting worse. So COVID was COVID for me. That's what COVID was for me. Yes, I'm in Coastal Montana. Yeah, I mean, they still do a ton of court cases online, and that's so nice because it think how much less traffic there is around the courthouses, less fights in the courthouse. Especially if it's divorce courts and stuff like that. And as long as you're being civil, you can do a lot of your stuff over the Zoom hearings and stuff. It's like it's a shame that it took a pandemic for all of that stuff to come to fruition. I used to. Well, I not Honolulu. When I first got to Hawaii, I lived in Oahu on Oahu. Um, the first I don't know, I think it was almost 4 months I was there. Lived in the Outrigger Reef Hotel in Waikiki while we were trying to find a place to live, and then lived over in Kailua on the windward side of the island. Find a house over there. So I had to travel through Honolulu every day to get from the Kaneohe Bay, where I worked, Marine Corps Air Station Kaneohe Bay. They've changed its name since, to the Outrigger Reef in Waikiki. So it is absolutely roasty, toasty, and frigid in coastal Montana. I got a new coffee mug. I had mentioned this yesterday when I was sitting there talking to myself. Um, I'm still testing it out. It's supposed to keep hot stuff hot for, I think they said 12 hours. I'll double check. But and this is a 50 ouncer. There is no mug that's too big when it comes to filling it with coffee. I just want to say that. I must have bumped that. But it just came in, and I used it yesterday for the first time, and it was about, I don't know, I think I had it like 3/4 full when I finished up the live last night because I added some more coffee to it. And it wasn't steaming hot. It was hot enough to, it was cool enough to drink comfortably. And when I got up this morning around 8 a.m., it was still warm. I was impressed. Chris, everybody in here knows the joke about Costa Montana. So you're all good. Brooke, you didn't know, Brooke? Oh, I thought you did know. Okay. I thought everybody knew. Yeah, Costa Montana is kind of a running joke at this point. Betty, you feel better. You know what? You need to get yourself some bone broth. That's all that collagen and stuff in the bones is really good. Wouldn't do you no harm. Have a mug of bone broth a day. Get all that extra collagen in there. Yeah, Chris, I will dig up the link. Well, it's not dig up, but I'll go and get that link, and the next time I go live, I'll make sure I have the information, and I'll do an actual little review on this. Um, uh, and let you know, because this I was impressed that it stayed warm because usually all the other mugs I have, they seem to chill quicker than I like. And this one actually kept it warm. I mean, it wasn't steaming hot this morning, but it wasn't cold, and that was nice. And before I went out and ran errands today, I filled it up, and it not a problem, not a complaint. Oh, look at that! Look how much we have in common. We were just talking about that last night. We have so much in common, even the little things like this. Who knew? Teresa, not even decaf. Civil's good. Okay, I'm just saying your comment, Brooke. Okay, you really didn't realize that I'm not in Costa Montana. Okay, this goes back to uh when Sarah was having her breakdown. She fixated on me at some point. I'm not sure why, but she was positive I was in Costa Rica because she heard my birds in the background. And then when hell broke loose in Coley's chat and I was out, at one point I caught Roddy Mom. I saw it on a short, actually, that Jughead had posted. And the conversation in there, Roddy Mom was trying to figure out where I was and figured that because I had mentioned I had snow outside or something, that I was in a place that gets a lot of snow. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm in Costa Montana or Costa Rica here, and over here I'm somewhere where there's a lot of snow. And I think I was watching Yellowstone at the time when I saw that clip. And I'm like, okay, I'm in Costa Montana. That's it. And so I've been in Costa Montana ever since. So that's where Costa Montana came from. Well, Chris, and you should do a review on your page and put a review up for the ones that you have because it would have saved me time looking for mine. How about that, huh? Hmm. Oh yeah, I was back there. Yeah. Yeah, actually, you know what? It was her freaking out and sing, Coley was ripping on her hard. And that was pissing me off and I was starting to deteriorate over it, and for some reason Sarah fixated on me like I was giving her a hard time and I wasn't. I was, you know, not, I was cheerleading for her and it's like, I felt bad. And she was putting up all these videos and she's like, oh, rebrand, and putting up these weird ass videos. And I'm just sitting back watching. I didn't say anything. I didn't acknowledge it because, there was no point. And I'm really glad that I took that approach with her. But yeah, that was rough. But yeah, I couldn't stand to see the way that they went after somebody that was clearly deteriorating. It was That was horrible. Yeah, I think one of the last lives I was in, it's like every 30 seconds I'm posting the suicide hotline information. You know, I'm like, get a fucking clue. You know, what you're doing right now is not right. Somebody's going to get hurt. This is the brand name on this one. Yeah, well, Chris, we've known her a lot longer than you have. So we have a, you know, but you know, I'm going to be an asshole right now. Chris, you should probably not look. I know. Me, an asshole? Say it ain't so. Uh-oh, watch the numbers jump. We're at 6. Watch the numbers jump. I forget which bag I have it in. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Well, that's funny. I thought she was stuck in somebody else's ass. Oh, sorry. That was a cough. Okay. Y'all figured out I got a twisted sense of humor by now, right? When I was on Etsy looking up some different patterns to make some different things, I found the absolute perfect, what are the filter? And I found a real life filter. I agree with what Teresa said. I'm going to put that on the board. There. Absolutely. Okay. I found a real life filter, and I could only think of one name to give it. I had to think of how to say that. And I made it, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, but tonight's the night. Tonight's the night. Hold on, let me go off camera for a second. Oh, wait a minute. I have to do that. This. There we go. Okay, and you get to tell me what you think I should name this. I mean, it's a balaclava, but it's like the perfect filter. It's a real life filter. Look, it's even it even I even customized the eyebrows. Look at that. Look at that. We've got eyebrows. So what should I name it? I don't know why I'm asking. You already know what I'm calling it, but yeah, I think you got it. No, it wasn't lumberjack. Go back a letter in the alphabet on that. So, but yeah. So yeah, I was being punchy when I saw this, but it is a real live in your face filter, the balaclava. I should probably wear that when I'm out there with the snow tonight. It'll help keep my face from getting chapped up. And to be clear, I did not make that up, that design up. That is really a pattern that is on I don't know if I have it right on here. Oh yeah, it is right there. This is really a pattern that I got off of Etsy. So that's it right there. This is really a pattern. I didn't just make that up. That is really a pattern. And when I came across it, I just busted up laughing and couldn't think of anything else. You ever come across something like that that just makes you think of one thing and one thing only? What, the actual pattern name? Or it's called they call it a, I think it's Spanish word for octopus. So that's the name of the pattern right. That's the name of the pattern right there. And there. But yeah, I think I saw some other amigurumi octopi that had names that were very similar to the whatever. So I think that does mean octopus in another language. I could be wrong, but I think. But yeah, I saw that and I busted up and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, a real life filter. It looks like one of the characters from Pirates of the Caribbean, Pirates of the Caribbean, whatever. That's what it reminded me of. One of the characters from Down in the Cave. You know, when they're down there around all the gold. I was looking for something else to crochet, and it made me laugh. And if it makes me laugh, you know, like crocheting a dumpster fire. I getting ready for the storm and everything like that. I haven't had time to crochet the shit yet, but just wait. We're gonna be crocheting shit around here. So, yep, we're gonna we're. In fact, you know what? We could when we do that, we could use the shitometer to figure out what kind of day it's going to be. We'll make a crochet shitometer for, you know, whether we're giving one shit or two shit on that particular day. But see, that's what's funny right here, because we're laughing and joking, and we're all getting along. That's the good thing. And It's entertainment. So I know my grandson's going to crack up when he sees that. He saw one of my other character hats when I met up with him back in was it November? Yeah, I think it was November. He got to see one of my other character hats and he loved it. Are you smoking your medication right now, Chris? Actually, the character hat that he loved, I wore it for my when I did my baby bazaar. I was wearing that. So when the people that walked in with their kids are just staring at me when they walk in because I had my upright walker and I'm standing there and I've got this character hat on. It's definitely not what they expected when they walked into the church's sanctuary. So, but hey, if you can't laugh and you can't laugh at yourself, there's a problem. So, but let's see what else. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to schedule some sort of a hooker meeting for the already established hookers in the group, so that we can try to maybe coordinate something on a live. And I don't know, maybe get another hooker up on the screen to help explain, so I don't have to do all the work. Just because it's my channel doesn't mean I got to do all the work around here. I'm more than happy to delegate. Chris, I am a chairperson, a committee person for a baby bazaar in my area, and people come in from out of state to go to it. It's that big, and it is hosted in the church. So, and the main room with all the clothing is in the sanctuary. They use the because that's the biggest room in the church, so they use the sanctuary for the clothing side. So that's why I step foot in the church. And of course, leading up to it, when I'm in there, setting up and prepping and doing everything I need to do before the big sale. So, yeah, I have my faith, but I'm not big on organized religion. Okay, let me look again, see if there's any more updates on this storm, since we never really did discuss it much, but that's okay. That's okay. Oh, 23 minutes ago, Fort Worth police have responded to over 150 weather-related calls. 59 for stranded motorists, 57 for major and minor accidents, 30 for weather-related traffic hazards, 13 for transports to shelter. Wow. In Texas, in parts of Texas and Oklahoma, they are getting sleet right now with thunder. So they're calling it thunder sleet. That's cool. I've only um been in one thunder snowstorm, and let me tell you, if you've never been in one, it is the craziest thing because at first you think that, something happened to a power line, and one of the transformers blew or something when you see the flashing. And then when it hits you that there's actually thunder and lightning out there, and you start and I was in my vehicle when this happened, and it was at nighttime. And I actually had a couple kids with me. And it's apocalyptic with what you see because it doesn't register that you're in the middle of a whiteout, an almost whiteout snowstorm, and you're seeing lightning, and then you're hearing thunder because you don't typically get thunder and lightning in the wintertime, not typically. So that is the craziest thing. If you ever witness something like that, absolutely crazy. The light's not a bad thing, Chris. No, my foster family were um super religious, and like I said to my therapist one time, there's just things you can't pray away, and you couldn't convince them of that. Wonderful people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything about that, but um yeah, they were the mindset that prayer can do anything, and you know did the talking in tongues and all that, and prayer alone doesn't work for everything. you know the only thing that what really helps is getting up and doing for yourself, and a little bit of prayer in there helps. I'm not going to say that, but yeah, no Bible thumping. You try to Bible thump me, and you're going to get thumped, and it won't be with the Bible. That sounds more like what she seems to do. Oh, I could be wrong. What do you think, Terry? Oh, and yeah, and who's Bible thumping now? Well, maybe not Bible thumping, but yeah, when nothing else is working, yeah, let's start calling on. Let's invoke God. Yeah, like that ever works for more than a couple. Yeah, there you go. That's what I say, Teresa. I am Christian. I have my faith, but I don't think anybody would mistake me for being a Bible thumper. But I'm not big on organized religion. I've seen and experienced too much with organized religion. Oh my God! No, you did not. Oh, you big old meanie, you. And and I'm saying that as a joke, but I'm not trying to make jokes at your beliefs. Just to be clear on that. I'm not cracking jokes on your belief. You know, when you have a inner spirit that is a certain way and functions a certain way, um, I don't think anything's going to help. My family was Catholic, and they denied my grandmother first rights when she had her first heart attack. I was just a kid. I don't remember everything firsthand. I just know what I was told, but I heard about that because her small Italian family, I mean big Italian family, and small community, and couldn't give enough to the church to make the church happy, so they denied her first rights. Fortunately, she didn't need them. Denied her last rights, if I didn't say that correctly. And then I remember for preschool, I got sent to the St. Anne, I think it was St. Anne's. And the kid next to me, the snot-nosed little prick, was eating the crayons and coloring on the table. And the nun beat the shit out of me with a ruler for it. And I'm like, oh, yep. I decided pretty early that Catholicism wasn't the thing for me. Even though I was forced to do the communion thing. You know, I still keep meaning to go find my old communion paperwork and find out if he's on the pedo list. A snake church? Yeah, my family pretty much after that happened with my grandmother, there was no more church services as a regular thing. It's like, yeah, you go on Palm Sunday and Ash Wednesday and you know maybe catch Easter, but nothing like that. And then my mom married my stepdad and his family, Italian Catholics or Catholic Italians. Oh no, she has to go and do this. So I had my Holy Communion, and yeah, then I'm like, no, and that was at St. Pamphilus Church. Well, the fact that I can remember the name of that church makes you wonder, why do I remember that? Hmm. So, but I used to go to the First Assembly of God, one of those in Pittsburgh, and one of my foster family, part of the extended family there, became a pastor at one of the First Assemblies, and when you got a pastor in a family, you kind of have to show up once in a while, but didn't mind that too much. But Yeah, I just don't get into it too much because there's too much corruption. I can't stand a tray being passed around and people watching to see how much you do or don't put in it. You know, just a bunch of little things. And I know churches, they do a lot of good. I mean, look at my church that hosts the baby bazaar. I know churches do more good than they do harm in the big picture, but I've had enough of a negative experience that I prefer to stay mostly on the outskirts. More like they had their fangs pulled out, Chris. You were 10. You were 10 and younger. See, you have so many stories you could tell. I'm not disbelieving what you're saying. I'm just questioning the truth and veracity of what you were told when you were a child. Okay, let's see. So far, we have ice reported across 11 states over the course of the last 12 hours. Multi-vehicle pileups reported in Missouri and Louisiana. Indiana troopers getting run off the roads and hit because people driving when they shouldn't be. Okay, here's an old report. As of 5 hours ago, North Little Rock, Arkansas already had 8 inches of snow. Topeka, Kansas already had 5. Kansas City had 3.6. Kansas City, that's in Missouri, right? I was there for a conference. I can't remember. I can never remember though. Kansas City's in Missouri. Lubbock, Texas had almost an inch, and Abilene, Texas had just under half an inch. That was 5 hours ago. Over 15,000 flights have been canceled through Monday. Thank you, Teresa. Historic winter storm causes major power outages, cancels thousands of flights as 245 million hunker down nationwide. Do you mind? You're going to scare Terry off. Stop it. The I-95 corridor is preparing for the biggest snowstorm in years. Wow. Oh, it looks like it's coming down pretty good now. Chris, be careful how much more you say, okay? Because it can be besides being triggering to you, it could also be triggering to other people. Okay. And we don't know who else may watch this stream. So, we don't want to trigger people. This is supposed to be a weather related stream, mostly, with chit chat spattered in there. Okay, thank you. What are you doing? Oh yeah, I was saying earlier when I was at Walmart, one lady stopped me. She was with her husband and she had one or two kids with her to ask me about the crocheted cowl and hat I was wearing, and she's wearing a crocheted scarf. So I'm like, oh, another hooker, huh? And her husband just cracked up when I said that. But her name's Victoria, VA, so as in Victoria. I didn't get that, but okay. Anyway, we must have stood there in Walmart back in the meat section talking for probably 15 minutes about crochet. And she's like, oh, well, this is where I live. You should come by sometime and we could do some crochet together. And I'm sitting here to myself thinking, okay, this just got really weird. Because she's like 20 years younger than me easily. And okay. But yeah, amazing the people you meet when you're able to get out of your house and talk to people. This is not the place for it, Chris. Maybe if I ever get to where, I have member chats or something, um, where it's private behind a wall, where it's a controlled audience, where it's private and not out there in public. One of these days, that might be an opportunity for you to get it off your chest. but out here in the public where anybody can see it is not the place for it. Okay. And I'm not saying that to be mean or anything other than, any stranger that would come across this, it's not their business, and it can be triggering to them. So, well, it's private to the members only unless they share it. But yeah, but we're not at that point here. But if she's on another community chat that does have a members only, and she would want to talk to them about being able to, she'd have to discuss that with them. But but here on the open public forum where anybody could pop in I just don't think that's a good idea. So we don't want to create issues. Nobody's saying you did anything wrong, Chris, or that you're doing anything wrong. It's just certain topics can trigger other people, and that's not because it's not because it's bad because it's you or anything like that. It's just that I have an idea of what topic you might be leaning towards, and that could just be hard for somebody coming into a lighthearted chat and hearing something that's difficult, and it could trigger them if they have any of their own concerns. So yeah, I'm not saying, I am definitely not saying that you're so wrong or anything like that. Okay. So okay. So what I was saying a little while ago, a little bit of a hooker gathering, try to plan some sort of a hooker gathering. I'm going to go back to my avatar here. I hope nobody minds. In fact, I'll leave it on the nice snowy screen. Hey, do we want snow or should I go to a fireplace? Do we need to cozy up some with a fireplace? Any opinions on that? Chris, that wasn't scolded. No, that wasn't a scolding. That was just trying to think of the right way to say it because right now you got your hackles up a little bit, thinking that we're scolding you now. But no, it's not a scolding, Chris. It's thinking about the topic and thinking about others that might come in and how it might affect them also. Okay, that's not scolding. That's just trying to think of the community as a whole and different topics that can affect them. And also, some of your information doesn't need to be out there for everybody. Just like not all of my information needs to be out there, or Teresa's or Brooks or Terry's. Some things, if we want to talk about them, yeah, we could talk about them in a private space, but in the open. You know, in the open where anybody can just pop in is not the place for it. So I hope I was able to explain that adequately enough the way I meant it without it being hurtful at all, because it was definitely not meant to be hurtful or anything like that. Teresa, you just said it perfectly there. Yeah, you know, we get cozy in here, you know, and look, we got a fireplace to make it even more cozy. You know, we get a couple in here and we get all cozy and we're just chit-chatting, and it's easy to forget that, you know, anywhere else, anybody anywhere else in the world can hap upon this. Well, there's nothing wrong with telling the truth. It's just sometimes you can't be so open where everybody can hear it, you know. And for that matter, we don't know if there's going to be if a minor might happen across this street, you know, this stream, you know, people that have experienced all different types of unpleasant things in their life, you know, and they're in this stream because it's supposed to be about the weather and some chit chat, and they might be sitting there listening and laughing along with us, and then all of a sudden they get hit with a hard topic that, you know, not the best thing for them, and we take what was warm and inviting and it makes them feel like it's not, because it's a topic that's too hard for them. I don't know. I think I just made it worse, but you weren't being scolded, Chris. Okay. So, but anyway, Teresa, hookers. I got to try to coordinate some sort of uh a private chat so that we can figure out some, you know, coordinate doing some crochet projects together or something. So, because we all have different levels of skill too. You know, and that would be great to, you know, share some of our different skill levels during an instructional live. Just throwing that out there. Oh, it's Rosie Posey. Hi, honey. Come here. Come here, Rosie. There you go. Come here, Munchkin. Hi. Look who just came over. Oh, look at you. Siamese, you're such a twat sometimes. She comes over and then I turn the camera on and she me. Typical Siamese. She's a Tuesday most of the time. And then she's a bitch the rest of the time. Well, I don't know about that. So let's see. I wonder how many vehicles I'm going to have in my yard, going through my yard over this storm. The main street that I have a corner lot, and the main drag has a high side and a low side. And I'm on the low side, and the berm's about a 3-foot drop. You know, I could mow the berm with my riding mower, but it's really precarious. You know, you have to be real careful or it's going to roll. So, but every time the roads are bad, there's at least one vehicle that comes off the street and down the berm and drives through my yard. And so far this winter, my not my, but the fire hydrant that's on that corner has not been hit so far this winter. And with this freezing weather like that, like this, that is the last thing I want, is to have a ice skating pond for a front yard. You mentioned that. I was thinking about that today when I was driving. I'm like, I have got to look that up and look into it a little bit more, but I got too much going on right now to do it. Let me get through this storm and I'll look into it a little bit. Do you do any knitting? I don't know why I'm coughing. I haven't looked at my any of my knitting supplies in quite a while, but I have a bunch of these square knitting needles, and I have the small ones for doing socks. Yeah, I forget what the square ones are called now. But a couple different styles of the small ones for doing socks. I don't know what style you would call mine because I had to teach my friend how to knit, and she's a southpaw. So I had to teach myself how to knit southpaw, as a lefty. And it totally threw off because I'm not a super strong knitter anyway, but I learned so I could teach her. And when I was teaching her, I started doing something really weird. I it's been so long I can't even tell you what it is, but my friend who is an avid knitter, she's watching me knit. You know, she's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm like, "I can't tell you what I'm doing. I'm doing a combination of lefty and righty knitting. It, you know, the project turns out fine. The stitches are fine. It's just my hands look weird because I've combined, you know, lefty and righty because I decided that I would teach my friend, you know, how to knit. Weird. Oh, okay. Get ready for that grandbaby. Lots of work. Get rested up well before he gets there. I haven't picked up my knitting needles in probably 3 years, so I don't even remember how I did it. Thanks, Chris. You have a good night too. But I just know that my friend, the avid knitter, had to ask me what the hell I was doing because it just looked so bizarre to her. And I know that when I went back to um, after I was done teaching her, and I went back to trying to knit regular, I was doing, oh, I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but I was doing something, and I just kept I picked up a bad habit, is what I did, you know, and I was doing something, you know, weird. So yeah, knit projects have a different stretch, and they have um I like the way they hang better. They have a better hang. Like if you're making clothing, they stretch differently than crochet. Um, the texture. So yeah, I know what you mean about how it feels for knitted projects. There's definitely a difference there. You know, a completed uh, piece is a completely different type of fabric texture. So no doubt about that. So, but, let me Google real quick, and I'll see if I can find the name of the square knitting needles. Collage, Kollage. Let me see if they have a good picture here. So there you go. There, they're up on the screen now. Have you done many? Have you knitted many socks? Um, well, they come in all the standard sizes, and they do have them. Hold on, let me switch over to that page. Yeah, they do have them in the regular straight needles where they're square. I don't know if I have this brand of double pointed needles or if I have a different brand of double pointed needles. I don't remember. I have some tiny double pointed needles. I mean, skinny for starting socks. Oh, okay. They also have crochet hooks. I didn't realize they had crochet hooks. That's okay. I don't need a crochet hook. Oh, they put a walnut handle on theirs. Lovely. But yeah, I've worked with the double pointed needles. I'll pull out my knitting stuff sometime. Those needles to start a toe sock with sock yarn. Those the double pointed needles I use to get that started. It takes 4 needles. Um, each of those needles is about as thick as your standard toothpick. You know, and so getting the toe started is a bitch and a half. You know, 'cause you have to start it with the double pointed straights, and then you transfer it over to circular needles after you get through the toe, you know, the toe top finished, and then doing the heel takes a while to get the hang of the heel, and I still do not have the heel well handled. Well, you know, you got time to sit there and proof dough at 2 o'clock in the morning. You got time to sit there and learn how to use square circular knitting needles or any other kind of knitting needle to make a sock. It's just they're small. And like I said, I'll pull out some of these hooks sometime and show you, because if you're making a sock on them. Now I've seen people that they use they're using the small circular needles, but they have a long ass line on it, and they are able to make multiple socks on one set of hooks at a time. You know, and for each sock they have a different yarn. They have a different yarn there for each sock. So they're working on 4 different socks with 4 different yarns on one set of circular needles. And it's well, I live on a fixed income too, so I do understand that. But I've had all my stuff for years. I've had all my stuff for years, but collected it over years. But yeah, if you ever Google you know circular knitting socks, multi socks, it's just you watch it and it's like, wow, I wish I could do that. Maybe one of these days I'll try it, and I never tried it. And I'm in no rush to do that. So But anyway, can I take that off the screen, or are you still looking at it? Well, I think I mentioned before how much yarn I have stashed away. I have a stash too. Let me see, what do I have here? So I brought some of my cotton yarn up. I figured eventually we're gonna be doing a dishcloth here, and whenever I teach a stitch or a new stitch, I love doing it with dish, by making dishcloths. Yeah, that's what I got here. And yeah, these are just some of my dishcloths I had in the bag downstairs. And somehow or another, I screwed up a popcorn stitch on here, but this is all popcorn stitch. This is good. This will be a heavy dish rag. I probably would prefer this one in the shower. Your small standard 8x8s. There's another one. Well, that's a little bit bigger. And this is the basket weave. I think this was a dish towel. This might have been Tunisian. I don't remember, but this might have been Tunisian crocheted because of the size of it. I'm thinking I did this on Tunisian hooks. So, because you can see this is a good size, but this is the basket weave. Have you done basket weave? Yeah, this is all cotton. Yeah, when I do dishcloths and washcloths, I do them all in cotton. In fact, give me just a minute, because I had brought up when I was digging for some yarn for to make the dumpster fire. I had brought up some washcloths. So hold on, I'll be right back. Hello? Hello? Go back to sleep. Okay, I'm back. Hold on. Get my hot water bottle and blankie back on me. Because I'm freezing. Okay. Let's get my bag here. Okay. And like I said, whenever I want to learn a different stitch, or when I'm teaching, I use the washcloths because that's a great swatch size. But anyway, here's another one. I don't remember what stitch this is, but texture is always great. Remember what that stitch is called? What I should do is if I'm going to keep any and not be using them, I should put a tag on them with the name of the stitch, but I don't do enough. I don't do classes, except for when I would do the Fiber Fest. But we're not always doing crochet and knitting at Fiber Fest, so there's no real reason to do it. I think that's shell. That's a shell stitch, I think. And then the other thing is when you use different stitches, you always can't make everything the same size if you have you know how it is with the repeating pattern. Oh, this is a knit. This is a knit one. Look at how that stretches. And just look at how that lays. You know, crochet doesn't, well, okay, that was a bad example because that one laid nice. But yeah, just look at that. But this is a knit one. Yeah, that's definitely knit. Yeah, that's knit. Would you agree with me that that's knit? But and this is going to stretch too much. At this size, that gets wet, that'll stretch too much, but it is what it is. This is just a plain, basic, boring one. But you know what? Make a bunch of plain, basic, boring ones. This size, because this is a good size actually. And I think that's single crochet. But yeah, make a bunch of these in different colors. Wrap them with a nice mesh bow and with a bar of soap. Kind of soap that you would get at a craft fair or something. That would make a nice little gift, and that's a good size. This is a good size, but I mean, any stitch would work. But even just a simple, plain old single crochet stitch, and yeah, yeah, you can see that single crochet. But even this simple. I mean, it's simple, but you make it in a different color, or even a stack of these in this color, because this is just slightly off white. It's like I don't know, it's slightly off white. I don't know what color it's called, but just a stack of these in different colors in this size with a nice kitschy bar of soap. That's a nice little gift. There's a scrubby. Have you used the scrubby yarn? And this one is I pulled the tie through so that it doesn't open up all the way, but yeah. This oh, I don't remember what the yarn's called. And I have some of it downstairs. This is hard to work with because you cannot see the stitches. At least I had trouble. I had trouble finding the stitches. And maybe if I did it with a different light. There's orbs behind me. Maybe if I was working with a different light, maybe it would have been easier, or if I wasn't just being impatient. But I had trouble finding all my stitches with the scrubby. There is another scrubby yarn out there, that is the for making the it's like the plastic. I can't think of the word right now. whatever it is. I can't think of what it's called right now. But I have some of that downstairs too. And actually I have one of those scrubbies on my sink. Let's see, there's another one. That's a good size. See, and this is the other thing. When you do some stitches, it's hard to get a nice straight edge on one side. And but yeah, that's, and like you said about going in the front and back, that's where you end up with that texture on the back. So yeah, I use front loop and back loop. So, but yeah, this has a like a I don't know. I can see it now, so maybe you can see it now, but you can see it's got a kind of like a weave in it. And I don't remember what stitch it is. And this is just another big, more of a drying towel size with that. And I don't remember what this stitch is called. And I don't know why I would have put this textured stitch on a drying towel. I think I was just not paying attention to what I was doing and it got bigger than I expected. So, this, no, this is the one side. That's not, it's not a shell stitch because you could see it's the way it goes up. You know, it's almost like a leaf, like a tree leaf. It's almost like a leaf pattern. But oh, you know what? I'll bet you that's how they did that. But yeah, it's not a shell stitch. And then the back of it is you just got your straight lines in the back. I can't remember how I did this. You know, it's been a while, but yeah, because the yeah, because there's the difference. No comparison. Yeah, if I could see where you'd say that though, because if I didn't hold it up well enough for you to see that there's actually that's actually textured. You know, there is actual texture there. It's not, you know, all flat. So, you know, there's scrubbing texture on that. You know, and like I said, yeah, I'm not sure why I would have made this one so big. I probably had something in mind when I did it, but this big with this amount of yarn in here and with the texture on it, I mean, this would be great for a scrubbing texture, but at this size, when it gets wet, you know, being cotton, when it gets wet, it's going to be heavy. So I don't know, maybe shrink it down and I might not say this, I might not feel the same way. So, but those are some of my samples. Oh, waffle stitch. There you go. Yes. Yes, there you go. So I'm going back to my avatar. Yeah, I you know, do so many different stitches. You know, I can't remember them all. You know, I have to double check notes and stuff like that whenever I do different stitches because I don't remember everything. Oh, you know what? There you go. Yeah. That would be a great idea. Yeah. That'll work. And you know what? Maybe I wonder if that's what I did it for one of my big glass pans, you know, the 9 by 13s. I wonder if that's what I had in mind when I did that size. I never know. I never know what I was thinking when I did certain things. And that's not the type of project that I would typically, take notes on. I take notes on some things, but that's not a noteworthy project. But I gotta find the pattern again for this hat, for the 3D stitch I used on this. Because I have a feeling some people might like to learn how to do that, or for the reversible. Oh, wait a minute, no, yeah, this is the reversible. I have a different 3D stitch. I'm thinking of two different things here. Yeah, this is the reversible, the hat. But I'm thinking somebody might like to try the reversible. Hey, I thought it was neat when I made it, and then a bunch of my friends and family are like, "Oh, we like that. We want one this color and that color." Okay. And it does crochet up pretty quick. Yeah, you're using two different yarns, but you're not cutting. At no point in time are you cutting. You're working with a continuous strand of each one, and it's been a while since I've done it, but I just remember it went real as soon as I figured it out and got my hands in the right motion. It went real smooth. It went real smooth and real fast. And it probably would have went even faster if the video that I learned from was if the video I learned from was in a language that I understood, that probably would have went even quicker. Yeah, yeah. There's a color for each side, and you're doing the whole thing. It's not two separate pieces. Well, I'll put my camera back on here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but all of these stitches, they're all connected. They are all connected together. So yeah, and you never cut one until you're completely done. You don't cut either color until you're completely done. But yeah, all the and they're all okay, I got cat hair on that. Imagine that, cat hair in my house. But yeah, you can see they're all connected together here. And I think it was Chris that said, "Oh, that looks like it's cozy or warm or something." And said, "Not really. So it's not really like a super warm hat. Yes, it'll keep you warm, but this is not a hat to wear outside when it's this cold. But in here where I'm trying to warm up, it's a good hat to wear." So, or it'd make a good sleep hat. My friend's husband sleeps with a sleep hat on. It's the only person I know that sleeps with a sleep hat on. And I know that because she told me, not because of anything, weird. She had just mentioned it in passing, and okay. But yeah. See, I have all kinds of weird things. Crochet brings out weirdos, doesn't it? Or not weirdos, brings out weird conversations. No, he doesn't. He's what, I think he just turned 78. Yeah, I think he just turned 78. and he's a silver fox. It's 78, of course he is, but a beautiful, beautiful, thick head of hair, and mountain man beard, unless he trims it up, but no, he's got glorious hair, but he's, you know, just the old fashioned kind that likes to sleep with a night hat on. Yeah, you know. But truth be told, she's a little bit, different too. We all have our eccentricities though, and so that just might be a family eccentricity. So, but yeah. If you knew them, you would not even suggest that. Not a chance in hell is it a silk hat. So, but anyway, on that. Um, it says there's 4 people watching. I don't know. What do you think? Is somebody waiting for the hammer to drop? Is somebody waiting for the hammer to drop? Asking for a friend. No, because if when you don't well, yeah, okay, I guess that's possible, but I was gonna say when yeah, it just shows that it's you and me in the chat here, but yeah. Oh, it just dropped down to 3. Nope. Somebody says, "Oh, fuck you. I'm leaving then." Okay. So, oh, I'm looking through the screen so I can't tell how heavy it's coming down. Well, and I can still see a little, my front yard is not completely white, so it's not too bad yet. So there's still some grass out there showing. Yeah, that would be for a long live. Not as noticeable when you got a lot of people chatting. So Teresa, when we start crocheting, would you ever want to come up and be on the panel and working the stitches and helping out? What are you doing, Rosie? She's playing with her little doohickey toy. Oh, I spoke, so now she's over here. What are you doing? What are you doing? I should have named you Tuesday. I should have named you Tuesday. Oh, okay. Well, I can't say I didn't ask. I completely understand. I didn't do panels until I did. There is an advantage to not having to type and just being able to talk, for what it's worth. Oh, now you want to come up on my lap. Camera's off, so you want to come up here now. Oh, and you want to get in my face. So now Rosie Posey is up on my lap and is making some biscuits on me. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. It's always a little more interesting when you have some other personalities come in too. Changes up the dynamic sometimes. Well, that's the only ones that showed up on screen tonight. I have 8 house cats. It wasn't supposed to be that way. I got adopted. I got adopted. They adopted me. And Rosie is she's the last one. I brought in her siblings, her mom, and the other mom that was in a home. It was kind of a hoarder situation because there was a million cats at that place, and I'm not kidding when I say that, indoor and outdoor. And there's 2 mama cats in one room in the house, and there was 9 kittens between the 2 of them. And her mama was in such poor health and so thin she wasn't producing milk. Um, the kittens were mostly feeding off the other mama. And Rosie here only weighed like 100 grams. She only weighed about 100 grams. I have her exact weight written down somewhere, but not important. But she was the smallest of the bunch. And I had to do some um, supplemental feeding on her. And then their mom, um, Rosie's mom was solid gray. As soon as mom started getting some food in her, her milk came in hard and fast. And then she was able to feed the babies. And then both the moms took turns feeding each other's kittens. You know, they both had a box. I set up whenever I do fostering, I set them up in the spare room. And both moms had a box for their kittens. And I had cameras set up in there. And yeah, you could see them taking the kittens, moving them back and forth, box to box. You know, and one mom would jump in the box with the other's kittens and nurse, and then back and forth. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, everybody's getting fed. They're all growing. But when it was time for them, um, 5 of the kittens were medium to long hairs, and I'm allergic to cats. Yeah, I know, I'm crazy. I could tolerate short-haired cats, but the long-haired cats were, as the kittens started to grow, it was really causing a problem for me. My UV sterilization in the house, it's on my filter. Um, and the HEPA filter I keep in the room with them could not keep up with um, 5 long-haired cats up there. And so the lady I do the fostering for, I'm like, yeah, it's overload. They're all doing good. I had already had them 2 months. They were at the point where they could be adopted out anyway. And I says, I can't keep them here anymore. It's affecting my health now with this many. And the night before she was picking them all up, Rosie here decided that she was going to jump on my back and, not leave me alone. So I guess Rosie knew it was time to go, and she decided, I'm staying. And she was making sure I knew that she was staying. Yeah. So, and who could resist that face? I mean, is that not a Rosie Posey Schmitten kitten face or what? And then the litter I fostered before that was a mom with 8 kittens, one mom with 8 kittens. And she was having trouble finding a home for the mom. And that's Nutter. And she just blended into in here. Once they get to a certain point, I don't keep them locked up in the room anymore. And when she started to be allowed to come out of the room, she came down and started introducing herself around to the rest of the family. And, before you know it, she's curled up with my cats, and they're all getting along and playing together and chasing each other. And, Simmy's having trouble finding a home for her. And I'm like, oh, shit. Well, she gets to stay, I guess. So, and when she came to me, she was already named. Her name was uh, uh, Coconut. And I'm like, well, I already have a cocoa nut, Coco. I can't have these two confusing each other. And I don't really like changing names completely, just that way. So it's like, well, I can't call you Coconut because it'll confuse Coco. So we just rolled with Nutter. So that's why I call her Nutter. So Coco got the first half of Coconut and she got the back half. I know, it's stupid how I picked out names. So it don't matter if it's stupid, they know who they are. And they don't care. But they are spoiled rotten. So yeah, you should have seen this one, Rosie, trying to convince the macaws that she was a boss. Oh, that was funny. I thought for sure I was gonna have a kitten missing an eye or an ear or something. Because she was going to the meanest macaw in the living room and trying to make friends with him. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. And except, try to distract her and call her away. But as soon as I stop the distraction and stuff, she's right back over there trying to convince them that she's the greatest thing since catnip was discovered. And then she realized, oh, wait a minute, this beak might not be a good idea. And he might have gotten a small nip in on her, just enough to realize, yes, I have birds too. He might have gotten a nip in on her, just enough to make her realize, no, this is not your play. This is not your litter box. Our area here is not your litter box. And that was enough to get her to, stop that. But then she'd get up and walk along the edges of the play stand. And as soon as the birds would start coming towards her, she'd sprint across it and jump off. You could almost see the look, the expression she's given. It's almost like she's doing nanny nanny boo boo. I was on your play stand as she's jumping off. I swear to God, you could almost see that. No, when animals are raised together, you can have an interesting dynamic. Dogs and cats can get along, cats and birds can get along, dogs and birds can get along, but it's takes time and a watchful eye, knowing your animals. And sometimes just throwing up your hands and saying, oh shit. But I've never had a cat injured by the birds, and I've never had a bird injured by the cats. So I'm doing something okay. And of course, the bird purists out there would give me a ration of shit, and the cat purists out there would give me a ration of shit. But, it is what it is. I just clipped your nails. Do I need to clip them again? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're somewhere on my posts. If you go look at my post page, there's a picture with some of my birds on it. Oh, look at you. You're being a belly kitty now. You wanted your belly rub. Yeah, there's Rosie Posey Schmitten Kitten. So do you work, Teresa? Or are you stay at home? I can only go by your picture. So you look young. So, you stay at home mom, or just tell me none of your business. And that's fair too. Okay. I'm a disabled vet, so I can relate. Different types of disabilities, I'm sure. So you're home all day. I would not have guessed that. That's a great looking picture. So we're in the same age bracket. I'm 50. Oh, I'll be 59 in April. So you're home all day. Stuck in the house mostly? And you were making bread. Oh no. How bad's the lymphedema? Have you done treatments for it? Listen, I asked about being stuck in the house, because, with my PTSD had me as a shut-in for well, I'd say since about 2012. And it's just really been in the past year that I'm starting to get out again, and getting out, I can handle little trips. I'm doing okay with little trips, but it's still stressful, and I can't do a lot of them, and I can't do a lot at any one time. So it's rough, but being stuck in the house all day is tough. Do you have anyone else there with you? I'm sorry about that. I personally have not had to deal with lymphedema. I've just, you know, seen some different treatments that have been done, and I've heard about some others. That's why I'd asked that. Well, hopefully that's a positive thing. Having someone else around, talk to and stuff like that. I do think I remember you mentioning son and girlfriend. I just don't remember the context, but I do think I remember you mentioning that they were in the house before. You're very fortunate that you have somebody else there. Me, it's just me and my animals. I can imagine. Is there anything that you're still able to try to do about it, or are you pretty much at the point where it's just day by day? I am completely unmedicated. I have anxiety, depression, and all the other things that go along with PTSD. And I am unmedicated. When I first went into the VA and started with their health care, they over medicated me and had me where I was practically drooling on myself. And I'm like, oh fuck this. And I had begged to get some Xanax just for when the anxiety attacks were really, really bad. I'm like, look, just so I have something around. for when it's really, really bad. I'm not asking for you to be a candy shop for me. And I had to act like a trained SEAL to get a prescription for 10 Xanax. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then spent a long time suffering until COVID came along and they opened everything up, all the therapy and groups and everything. Once they opened that up online, and then I was able to start getting some help with everything and get some tools. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I take tramadol, and tramadol is just barely a step up from Tylenol. Um, as pathetic as it may sound, YouTube is most of my social interaction, because when you don't get out of your house, how else are you going to get any social interaction? You know what I mean? Well, you do know what I mean. You do know what I mean because you just said it too. So, you know, look how much we have in common. I do the crafts, I have the animals. But sometimes it's still a battle. Some days it's still a battle. So have you done anything for your weight? What are you doing, if anything, to work with your weight? And I asked that because I had let my butt get up to almost 300 pounds. So, I've had some weight on me too, and was able to get it down. So you're doing the suck ass diet. That's terrible. And I call it the suck ass diet because everybody loves carbs. And when you don't eat very much, you starve yourself. And that doesn't help the mental health at all. And then you end up eating more than you intend to when you do eat because you starved yourself. That sound familiar? Um, you don't move much because of the lymphedema, right? there was something I was talking about trying to get started. It's not going to work with my co-host now, but I still want to do it. I wanted to do and don't disconnect on me when I say this. I wanted to do a regular exercise program for all of us, where we're all doing some kind of movement. And you may not be able to get up and walk, but you can move your arms. If you could beat bread, you could move your arms. So you would very well be able to fit into this, into doing that with us if you would like to. But my idea from this came because it was months and months ago. Well, at least two, maybe 3 months ago. They had put an article on CNN about, if you walk at this incline at this speed for this long of a time, it burns more fat than doing it this way. And it gave me the idea of, all of us can afford to lose a couple pounds here and there. See, there you go. So I was pitching, let's do some sort of an exercise program. And it's just something where, we get everybody moving for a certain amount of time. Any type of movement. I'm sure you got a couple cans of soup in that house you could use as weights. Or a couple cans of some sort of canned goods. You could use that, with your arms. So you flap your arms. Different types of exercises there. And I think everybody can participate in that. And everybody inherently has a desire. We're women. We inherently have the desire, and it always works better when you have some people to sit there and do it with and motivate each other and cheerlead each other. And that was my thought process. And then following through on that, it's like, if we do this, we're all going to start really feeling good about ourselves, because we're going to, more activity is good for the serotonin levels. If anybody does start losing a little bit here and there, or starts converting, some of our flab into muscle, you start feeling better about yourself. Or even just when you're moving more, you feel better about yourself. That's just a natural reaction. And then it's like, okay, then we're going to have to start having a girls' night. It would be like a girls' night out on the live. Where we all sit around planning, we all have a meal together online or something. I'm just spitballing, the idea out there. When I was talking with her about this, I was just spitballing the idea. You're probably rolling your eyes at me, aren't you? But we never did get through all the thought processes on that. But I just think that would be a fun thing to do. Okay, thank you. But I just think that would be, I don't know how fun it might be in the beginning. I don't get out and do as much as I should. But yeah. I might start cussing up a storm as soon as I click the end stream button the first couple times, but you know. I think, if a bunch of us got together and we're doing stuff like this, I think we could have an enjoyable time. It's a community thing. And if your friends ever just or your son ever let you come up on a live, I don't have private memberships because I'm not big enough, but some things can be done in a private chat. A chat could be private between only the people that are doing something, where you send out that only people that you want to know would have a link to a certain chat. So you know maybe in the future, if you would ever want to join something, something like that, because that would be a little bit more personal than, say, crocheting. But and anybody else in the group that would want to be there and want to come up and, yeah, I want to exercise, but I don't want anybody else to be able to see. We could put that all. It would be a private stream to where only certain people that have been doing this with us or that want to do this would have access to that stream, because that it would have to be emailed a private link for that stream. So it would not be available for anybody to just nobody would be able to have a stance upon it. It I'd like to have some open, for those people that do pop in that way, but we could have other streams that for anybody that's super shy, but would like to come up and participate, but is shy, set up the private streams. Yes, it would be live. How else are we going to hold each other accountable if we're not live? Or do you mean the private one I'm talking about? The private one would be live only for those of us that have the link and that were invited into it. And then once we're done, that would stay as private, and it would only us, only me, because it's on my channel, but only those that were provided the link would have access to it. So the only way anybody else would be able to get into that is if they had the link for that live. So this is something that if it started, if we ever got to that point, it would be with a very, very, very core group, and there would have to be some trust in there, because it would be in that core group. And I haven't gone live with trying to do that yet, because the whole plan is not fully formulated yet. I'm like trying to figure out, workout dynamics. I was trying to, get someone else to do it with me, and well, that didn't work out. But yeah, I mean, there's dynamics to work out, but I think the foundation idea is good, and I think there'd be interest. Let's just work out some of the kinks. And maybe find somebody who knows YouTube better than me, explain it so that others would understand it better, because I probably just did a really shitty job of explaining my thought process on that. So, well, I'll tell you what, Teresa, it is half past the monkey's ass. And it looks like I'm going to have to go out there and do some snow blowing here real soon. So I need to go in and see how much snow's out there right now. And then probably have to suit up. So I'm going to call it a night. That's exactly right, according to. But we are so much alike. But yeah, I'm going to call it a night. I did not anticipate tonight being so long. I figured, it'd be an hour, 90 minutes tops. But I will be at some point tomorrow during the day. I have no doubt that I'll be doing a live, mainly to talk about the weather and how bad it is, because the big time chats always seem to be funner in the evenings. But I will be live tomorrow at some point, no doubt. Okay. So you have a wonderful night, and thank you so much for being here. Very much appreciated. Enjoyed talking with you. And I will hopefully see you. Well, we're already on tomorrow, so hopefully I will see you within the next 12 hours or so. Yeah, as soon as I figure out what's going on outside, and have something more to give some updates on. So you have a good evening. Good night.